Good morning, everyone. I want you to picture this for a moment. You're 72 years old. You've worked your entire life, paid your taxes, raised your family. You served your country, maybe in Vietnam or Korea. You put your kids through college. You did everything the American dream promised would lead to a secure retirement. And now? Now you're sitting at your kitchen table at 3 a.m., unable to sleep, staring at a stack of bills that just keep growing higher and higher. The numbers don't add up anymore. They haven't added up for months. Your rent went up another $200 this month. The landlord says it's market rate adjustments. Your grocery bill has doubled since 2020. A simple trip to the store for basics now costs $150 instead of $75. And that Social Security check, the one you've been counting on, it's barely covering half of what you need just to survive. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. We're talking about millions of seniors across America who are living this nightmare right now. Grandparents who are being forced to choose between paying rent and buying their heart medications. Between keeping the lights on and putting food on the table, between dignity and desperation. I've been getting emails from viewers every single day, stories that would break your heart, stories that should make every American furious about what we've allowed to happen to our seniors. But here's what has everyone talking today and why I had to make this video immediately. Congress just introduced legislation that could put $700 cash directly into the pockets of struggling seniors to help with rent costs. $700 every single month. Real money, not promises. Now, before you get too excited or too skeptical, let me tell you exactly what's happening here. Because this story has more twists than a soap opera, more politics than you can shake a stick at, and it's affecting real people's lives right now, lives that can't wait for political games. But first, let me ask you this. How is it possible that the richest country in the world has seniors eating cat food because they can't afford groceries? How did we get to a point where people who built America, who fought in our wars, who raised the generation that put men on the moon, are now rationing their medications because rent ate up their entire income? And here's another question that should make your blood boil. Why are we just now talking about helping seniors with rent when housing costs have been crushing them for years? Where was Congress when rents started skyrocketing in 2021? Where were they when seniors started getting eviction notices for the first time in their lives? And maybe most importantly, is this $700 rent credit actually going to happen? Or is this just another political promise that'll disappear faster than your paycheck? Are we looking at real relief or just another campaign talking point that politicians will forget about after the camera stopped rolling? These are the questions everyone's asking, and today we're going to get you the answers you deserve. So here's what's happening right now in Washington. According to multiple news sources, including reporting from The Hill, Politico, and Reuters, a bipartisan group of lawmakers has introduced the Senior Housing Security Act. That's the official name, and yes, it actually has bipartisan support, which is rare these days. This bill would provide eligible seniors with up to $700 per month in rental assistance credits. We're talking about real money going directly to help with housing costs. Not vouchers, not bureaucratic programs that take months to navigate. Cash assistance. The lead sponsors include Senator Bob Casey from Pennsylvania, a Democrat, and Senator Susan Collins from Maine, a Republican. When you see names like Collins attached to legislation, you know it has a real chance of moving through the Senate. Collins doesn't attach her name to political stunts. Now let me be clear about something. I've been covering financial policy for over a decade, and I've seen a lot of proposals come and go. Most of them die in committee. Most of them never see the light of day. But this one has some real momentum behind it. And frankly, it's about time someone in Washington started paying attention to the housing crisis that's destroying the retirement dreams of millions of Americans. But here's what makes this different from typical Washington theater. The proposal has backing from major seniors advocacy groups, including AARP, which represents 38 million Americans. When AARP gets behind legislation, politicians listen. They have to. Let me break down exactly how this would work, because the details matter. And I'm going to use real numbers that you can actually understand. Under this proposed legislation, seniors aged 62 and older with household incomes below $50,000 would qualify for the monthly rental credit. That's $50,000 total household income, so if you're married, that's both you and your spouse's income combined. Single seniors would qualify with incomes up to $35,000. Let's do some simple math here, because numbers don't lie. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in America right now is about $1,200 per month. In some cities, it's much higher. In Miami, it's $1,800. In Phoenix, it's $1,400. Even in smaller cities like Boise or Nashville, you're looking at $1,000 minimum. For a senior living on Social Security, and the average Social Security payment is around $1,600 per month, that means rent alone is eating up 75% of their entire income. 75%! Before they buy a single grocery item, before they pay for electricity, water, phone, or any of those life-saving medications that keep them alive. Think about that for a second. 3/4 of everything they have gone to just keep a roof over their head. Now, with this $700 rental credit, that same senior would effectively be paying $500 for rent instead of $1,200. That's the difference between barely surviving and actually being able to live with some dignity. That's the difference between choosing between rent and medicine and being able to afford both. Let me give you a real example, because this isn't about statistics, this is about people. I want to tell you about Margaret from Akron, Ohio. She wrote to our channel last month, and I've been in touch with her ever since. Margaret is 68, a retired school secretary. She lives on $1,400 in Social Security. Her rent just went from $800 to $1,050. That's a $250 increase in 1 year. That increase alone wiped out almost her entire grocery budget. She told me she's now buying the cheapest pasta she can find and eating it plain because she can't afford sauce. Margaret worked for 35 years helping educate children in her community. She never missed a day of work. She paid into Social Security every single paycheck. And now she's eating plain pasta because her landlord decided he needed more profit. With this $700 credit, Margaret wouldn't just be able to afford her rent, she'd actually have money left over for food, for her blood pressure medications, maybe even to visit her grandchildren once in a while. She could buy actual groceries instead of surviving on crackers and peanut butter. This isn't about luxury living, folks. This is about basic human dignity. This is about whether we're going to let seniors who built this country live out their final years in poverty and desperation. Let me say this again, because I want to make sure everyone understands exactly what we're talking about here. This is a proposed $700 monthly rental assistance credit, not a loan, not something you have to pay back, a credit to help cover your housing costs. It's for seniors 62 and older. Your household income has to be under $50,000. And yes, this would be in addition to any Social Security or other benefits you're already receiving. $700 every month to help keep a roof over your head. That's the proposal that's sitting in Congress right now. Now, let's talk about why this matters beyond just the immediate help for seniors. Because this rental credit proposal is really about something much bigger. It's about the complete breakdown of the American retirement system. We're living through the worst inflation crisis in 40 years. But here's what the politicians won't tell you. Inflation has hit seniors harder than anyone else. Housing costs have gone absolutely insane. Since 2020, average rents have increased by 30% or more in most major cities. Some places, like Austin and Tampa, have seen increases of 50% or more. Meanwhile, Social Security increases, those cost of living adjustments that seniors depend on, have barely kept up with grocery prices, let alone housing. In 2022, seniors got a 5.9% increase. Sounds good, right? Wrong, because their housing costs went up 15%, their groceries went up 12%, and their utilities went up 20%. This creates what economists call a fixed income squeeze. But let me put it in plain English. Seniors are getting crushed. They can't just ask for a raise. They can't work extra hours to make ends meet. They can't start a side business or pick up gig work. They're trapped, watching their buying power disappear month after month, year after year. And here's the scary part that connects to everything else. This housing crisis is directly connected to the Medicare and Social Security funding crisis we keep hearing about. When seniors can't afford basic housing, they delay medical care. They skip medications. They don't go to the doctor until they're so sick they end up in emergency rooms. Here's what you need to remember from today's update. Congress has introduced legislation that would provide $700 monthly rental credits to seniors with household incomes under $50,000. This could be a game changer for millions of older Americans who are drowning in housing costs. But, and this is important, this is still just a proposal. It hasn't become law yet. It needs support. It needs momentum. And frankly, it needs seniors and their families to make their voices heard. If you're interested in this legislation, contact your representatives. Tell them this matters to you. Tell them seniors shouldn't have to choose between rent and medicine, between housing and food. The power of democracy works when people speak up. And right now, seniors need advocates more than ever. Here's my final thought. We judge society by how it treats its most vulnerable members. And right now, we're failing millions of seniors who built this country, who paid their taxes, who did everything right. They deserve better. This $700 rental credit isn't charity. It's not a handout. It's a recognition that housing is a basic human need, and that seniors on fixed incomes need support to maintain their independence and dignity. Whether this becomes reality depends on all of us staying informed, staying engaged, and demanding action from our elected officials. Thanks for watching today's update. If this information was helpful, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We'll keep following this story and bringing you updates as they develop. And remember, your financial security matters. Your voice matters, and your vote matters. We'll see you in the next update. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other.